Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Democrats headed for the ditch. Why has the left and the Democratic Party been unable to exploit their control of the White House and both branches of Congress? And what does this mean for Republicans and conservatives? We're back with our B&B panel, best and brightest from LibertyNation.com. Lisa K. Donner, Mark Angelides, and Scott Cosenza. No discussion of the Democrats' agenda and their ability to achieve the objectives they've shouted about from the rooftops would be complete without the inclusion of one Joe Manchin, moderate, mild-mannered Democratic senator from West Virginia who has vowed to vote against virtually all of the left's most precious projects, from the so-called Voting Rights Act to trashing the filibuster, and turned himself into the skunk at the Democrats' garden party. Mark, what kind of pressure must there be on Joe Manchin as the singular figure blocking almost all of his own party's most significant initiatives? He doesn't seem to have backed down, but can he take the relentless heat he's under without ultimately caving?
This is very much a do or die maneuver for Joe Manchin. He obviously, we know his situation in West Virginia. He's elected amongst a group of people who are at least nominally conservative. They're very as a whole the population is very Trumpist, and for him to survive. Now, I'm not saying that he's doing it to survive politically, but he has to sort of be a bulwark against very left-leaning policies. Now, I think that Joe Manchin it's just my opinion, but I think he's quite a decent, straight-up guy. He's very left-leaning in many of his positions, but he doesn't want to make more ideological choices for the state of the nation. Now, whether that's a personal opinion or a political opinion, he doesn't want to push the nation to one ideological extreme or the other. Now, we remember what happened with John McCain, who was once popular enough to receive the party nomination for president. What happened to John McCain? He was the irregular nail that had to be hammered down.
Yes.
Now, whether you agree with John McCain or not, he was the one sticking point. Now, Manchin is about to become that.
So, Lisa, I'm wondering if Joe Manchin is providing cover for many other Democrats who are equally squeamish about their party's radical notions but don't want to say so publicly.
I'm glad you brought this up because, what are the Dems doing by pounding away on Manchin? Do they think it's going to make him buckle? I don't think so. And there's a chance that all this pressure may run him out of the Democratic Party. This isn't Manchin's first rodeo. He's been around for a while. He knows who he represents. And one would think the Dems would try to catch him with a little more honey than vinegar. We've been watching a documentary about LBJ. He was a master at cajoling and getting people to vote his way. In terms of Manchin being holed up in the Senate, there's only Kristen Sinema of Arizona, right? I don't see a lot of others that are ready to join this fray.
That's true. Now, go ahead.
It's funny you should talk about how long he can put up with that kind of thing, because, the odds of him turning independent and joining Angus King and Bernie Sanders as independents is slim to none. But in West Virginia, he could go Republican, but I think that would only ever happen under, I guess, two specific circumstances. One, somebody like Tim Scott, if he became the driving force of the Republican Party. If Tim Scott, for example, became the leader, especially with all the work he's doing on police reform now, he seems to be the lead Republican in terms of police reform. I think, if Manchin couldn't handle what was happening in the Democratic Party, and I do believe that he's swallowing a bitter pill every morning, if somebody like Tim Scott became the front runner, the leader of the Republican Party, whether presidential or not, that could at least push his decisions more one way than the other. other than actually joining the party. But we have seen defections from party to party. We've seen it in New York mayoral races. We've seen it all over the country. It's a long shot, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Republicans are likely preparing a very attractive proposal for Joe Manchin to leave the Democratic Party and become a Republican, including prime committee assignments. Those are the kind of things that are often used to entice people to change parties. But, Scott,
it would be a debutante ball for him if he switched.
Yes, it would. That's a good way to put it. Now, Scott, it's kind of hard to process the thought, but for single-handedly blocking legislation that would fundamentally transform the nature of this country, is it too bold to call Joe Manchin, assuming he stays his current course, the savior of the republic?
In a word, yes, it is far too bold to call Joe Manchin the savior of the republic.
That was not a yes or no or no answer, but fine.
To the previous question, I would just say I'd love to be a fly on a wall when that presentation is made to Manchin, the wheeling and dealing. Like, I don't want this committee assignment, I want that one. Who's going to fly in to help me in this district for the retail campaigning? That sort of proposal language interests me greatly from the political angle.
Manchin is safe till 2024. That's the reality. He can do whatever the hell he likes for the 2022 midterm, Scott.
So, to the savior point, Tim, I think that if he's a savior of anybody, he's going to be a savior of the Democratic Party and perhaps many seats in Congress, where if he stops the most radical and off-putting legislation for most Americans, and I'm not talking about people who are red or blue in terms of their bones, just, the broad swath of the middle. If he stops some of the worst of it for them, then I think the Democrats will actually benefit from it.
Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.